Hello everyone. A very interesting week we're moving into. It's the 15th of August today. Waning half moon, the moon exactly 90 degrees behind the sun, the ignition point for the fourth week of this solely lunar cycle from new moon to new moon, which is the time of reorientation, crisis in thinking. So this is perfect for that present kind of highlight globally, the focusing on a potential peace in Ukraine is really where the consciousness is focusing on. In Alaska, interestingly enough, where the United States and Russia are coming closest. Very interesting choice of places. And that is not just deeply symbolic. There have been plans to connect these two continents with a major railroad already, I guess, more than 150 years ago, in the days of the railroads, and this project had been naturally put in a drawer and then revived several times, but it's still something which is possible. And I'm thinking that's where we're going. This is just one little piece in that puzzle to bring the two big nations together. And this is the week it is seemingly happening with here for Greenwich, for the global chart, we have the 27th degree of Leo rising short after sunrise. The 27th degree of Leo is where Mr. President Trump's Mars is, so he is really put into this role of being the activator this week of getting the ball rolling. And when we look at this global chart for a minute longer, we have the black moon here at the root of the chart, at the source point. So this also means that we are anchoring really in this deepest trench in the ocean where the shadow hides the collective shadow. So we can expect something to really come up to the surface, into the consciousness arising. And it also feels a little bit like magma, which is rising up from the deep of the moon and Uranus here. And said now in the 10th house, we can definitely expect some sensational changes, news in these 7 coming days. And it might also be quite dramatic at times with the black moon, what we will be experiencing. Also Saturn in the 8th house here with Neptune here in this critical and powerful configuration with Uranus and Saturn on one side and Pluto on the other. You see there's a perfect symmetry. So Pluto and Uranus both are flanking this central focal point, which really it is. That's a Saturn-Neptune conjunction. I can't emphasize this too much. This is really the one aspect we could boil it down to, which really symbolizes this enormous shift and change we are going through. I did a research through 3,000 years and I couldn't find a single other conjunction of Neptune and Saturn in this early part of Aries. This is really a new beginning, dreaming a new reality into manifestation. That's what it means basically. And just to remind you, only in 2026 on February 20 the two will finally meet. Saturn has come as close as 12 minutes of arc before turning backwards here just a couple weeks ago or so, and is now retreating here backwards for the next 5 months. So is Neptune at a slower pace, so they still move again out of farther away from each other, and then they start pulling closer again, and then eventually in February meeting, which will be in a simple way said as a fractal, really the new beginning, the beginning of really feeling the shift as having happened, and then it's naturally to be implied, implemented. That's the word I'm looking for. So anyway, this is the greater picture, and then we have also this big trine here this week going between Jupiter and Venus, which just had their conjunction here in Cancer, which really brought something festive and deeply enjoyable into the rink, to feel the potentials which are slumbering still. It was also a Jupiter return, a Venus return for the Declaration of Independence chart, which we have here. Let me just bring it here on the side too, because it's really always a great reference point. I really think it is the one chart which is most interesting to observe at these present times. As you see, there is that Neptune-Saturn conjunction here right at the source point of this chart. Yeah, I'm still having here a little issues with my laptop at times. That's what it wants. Anyway, yes, all the Cancer here, you see the Sun, Venus and Jupiter in this base chart, and that is what we are having here. Jupiter was just conjuncting the Sun. There's a Jupiter return, a Venus return. So in general, the United States is in a expansive mode of energy, celebrative generally, enjoying the abundance of what is unfolding, the importance which is put on the nation too as a leading edge of this big change we are going through. I guess there's no question to that. That is where change first will fully manifest. That's why we have to give them energy and be in the waiting for this to ripple out all over the globe, which it will. It's just a matter of time. So patience is important. But now let's look at this chart here in Anchorage, and you see that the 28th degree of Capricorn is rising, which is Pluto in the Independence chart. I have said that repeatedly. Whenever this degree is highlighted, this means the United States plays an important role. There will be some major developments involving that nation, and that is definitely happening this week with this historic meeting of the two leaders in Anchorage, Alaska, as of today, and probably, I'm guessing, at least for another day, to really discuss all the different angles of finding peace, bringing peace to the Ukraine. And it is interesting that the midpoint between Sun and Moon is here at 8 degrees 36 in Cancer, and the opposite point here is 8:55 where is Pholus, and 9:33 where Quaoar is, which is this powerful conjunction of almost. Pholus is always the one which kind of takes the cork off the bottle, releases the pressure, and brings real change in that sense. It is building up to a certain point. Quaoar is the one which is singing reality into a new manifestation. That is a creator deity from one of the native nations on the west coast in California, singing reality into creation. Quaoar also has been observed to be quite difficult to start with, as it's really just changing the frequency band, which causes kind of a discord, a dissonance, till reality adjusts to the new frequency setting, you could say. So it's kind of a breaking through a glass ceiling, or breaking through this kind of frequency barrier. I guess that's the easiest way to say it. It's like when a plane accelerates through the speed of sound, then you have that moment when there's a loud boom, and that's kind of what it feels to me, what Quaoar often is bringing. And then once we have passed through that critical boundary, then there's lots possible, and that is kind of a general energy we have we will have going till 2061. That's how long these two are moving in absolute sync, within less than a few degrees apart, till 2061. Started actually just days before the Russian invasion in Ukraine. Interesting that this couple planets, which is all about that push through boundaries and take some temporary discord and difficulty in account to reach to a higher frequency band. Interesting also, Anchorage being so far north, we have a big interception here in the first house. So this is how these 7 days the energy will express locally in that area. Now with interceptions, it is an interesting thing that they kind of are islands. They are not actually accessible into the main grid. They're kind of having a separate life there. So it's kind of like a whatever is discussed, and there's lots going on. Pluto-Mercury opposition, yes, this is definitely the negotiation part, and the kind of crossing the blades of mental powers. It is definitely important to see. This is also a very creative energy, because Mercury is challenged by Pluto to become smarter, to expand its view. But with the Sun also, the nodes all in this interception means it's kind of happening still outside of the main attention. It's kept still a kind of we don't really know what's going on. It will seep out over time when everything is ready, but it's definitely will build up. There is a build up of sort of a pressure too. Interesting also here the degrees of the midheaven, the 15th degree of Sagittarius. You see it matches the American nation's ascendant. Also here is the great attractor, which is a powerful point of coming together. It's a magnetic force which pulls all the galaxies in this big section of the universe towards it. That is what the great attractor means. It's and then we have the galactic center here at the cusp of the 11th house, also within less than a degree. So these are powerful points as such, the 10th being the one which again shows the meeting, the midday point, and the 11th house, naturally, that is the Aquarian house of finding mutual ground and coming into sync with one another. So it's a powerful place for what is going on right now. And this is the chart for that moment when the two presidents were meeting. I sure like that Venus-Jupiter here in the focal point, again overhead in zenith. So it's a basically very beneficial, heartwarming energy, which is expanding from this place, and with the big trine here with the lunar node and the black moon here in quite close conjunction with Vesta and Juno. Now these are two asteroids, and they show what roles we are taking on in this play, what our mission is as humans, and it is the holding up the flame, the holy flame. This is what Vesta is all about, that service to a higher truth. And naturally this can be whatever the person is really worshipping or supporting. And Juno is partnership as such, teamwork, shared responsibility. So it also shows that there's been some also quite deep realizations going on of our responsibility collectively in helping to bring change. We can't just be silent bystanders anymore. I guess everybody has really learned this lesson through the last 5-6 years. You can't just be there and be the kind of go along with something which is wrong, because you will eventually have to feel and experience the effects of what you probably didn't want to happen, because you were just keeping silent and standing on the side, not wanting to be bothered, just have my own peace. So this is no more possible. We are really in a time when everybody has to understand, if I am not taking a stand, I am definitely having to pay the price eventually. That's immediate karma, in a way, is becoming more of the reality these days. There's no time delay anymore. When something is not done right, immediately we feel the repercussions. So I guess that it gives you the kind of the basics for this coming week, and then next week we have new moon on the 23rd, which will be a whole new ball game. Then really change is starting to be rolled out. So these 7 days right now we are going into will be kind of more of a shuffling the deck in a new way to then be presented and rolled out after the 22nd, 23rd of August, when the Sun moves into Virgo. This will be a major shift also with that square to Uranus and Sedna. This will be really kind of bringing things into much more dynamics of change. I mean, it's also the changeable signs which will be magnified by then. But we will get deeper into this chart soon. Thank you for being here and listening, and I love you all. Bye bye.